Cries echoed through the branches of the tree of Vithariel, heart of the ancient elven capital. Torches and blue magic lit the faces of the crowd gathered beneath the altar of judgment. Lady Aeliryn of Silvaran, Duchess of the High Wood, was being led in chains. Once, she had been the most admired noble in the Green Empire. Her beauty and elegance had masked years of negligence and arrogance. She had ignored famine, dismissed the warnings of druids, and let corrupt advisors bleed the people dry. When rebellion finally ignited, she had neither listened nor protected. Now, before the Council of Elders, her fate was sealed. The High Arbiter raised his hand, guilty of betrayal against her people and the sacred forest. The blade of memory shall end her spirit so the elves never forget. Aeliryn did not plead. She did not resist. As the ethereal blade rose above her head, she thought only, if I could live again, I would do it differently. She awoke with a gasp, surrounded by the scent of flowers, incense, and moss. Golden light streamed through the living glass windows. Her chamber, her youthful, untouched chamber, stood exactly as it had been. Her skin was smooth, her hands unscarred. Her hair, silver gold, flowed loose and clean. She rushed to the window. The garden below sang with birdsong. Trees stood whole and unburned. The sky was clear, unclouded by war. A knock at the door. "My lady, the council awaits your decision on the moon nectar taxes," came the voice of Saren, her handmaiden, young and loyal once more. Aeliryn turned, heart pounding. What day is it? The 3rd of Luin, Imperial year 1274. 3 years before the rebellion, she had been given a second chance. That very day, the noble council convened beneath the Root Hall. Lord Caelthorn, her chief advisor, who would one day betray her, was already proposing another tax hike. The lunar nectar harvest is down. A 20% increase on rural settlements will preserve our profits. No, Aeliryn said calmly. Caelthorn blinked. My lady, we'll reduce the tax by 15% and remove the light tax in the villages altogether. That's madness. The high houses will revolt. And the people? Haven't they suffered enough? Silence filled the chamber. Aeliryn stood. I've made many mistakes. Starting today, I serve the living, not the privileged. The following months were difficult. Nobles whispered mockery. Her former allies withdrew support. But Aeliryn remembered the flames, the screams, the children's eyes. She visited forgotten villages barefoot without guards. She spoke with farmers, reopened temples, rebuilt bridges, hired teachers. She apologized to druidic clans, to outcast healers, to starving families. Some distrusted her, but others, seeing the honesty in her voice, began to believe. A young herbalist once said, if this is a trick, it's the kindest one I've ever seen. 2 years passed. The Green Empire wavered. The primordial tree was dying. A mysterious fever took lives. The throne stood empty. The clans hovered at the brink of war. But the North, under Aeliryn's care, held firm. Her reforms had nourished the land. Her alliances had built trust between elves, spirits, and magical beasts. The Supreme Council summoned her. Do you seek power? Asked the eldest druid. She met his gaze. No. I remember what happens when no one takes responsibility. If I must lead to prevent disaster, then I will. When war threatened between the dark houses and tribal clans, Aeliryn offered a third path, one built on respect and shared purpose. She granted sacred lands back to the druids in exchange for protection. She gave the nobles a voice, but not unchecked power. She recognized the forest folk as equals, not subjects. There were no torches, no blades, no chains. The future shifted. Years later, Aeliryn sat high in the branches of a living tree palace, surrounded by twilight and birdsong. The wind carried elven laughter. The river below sang peacefully. At one time, she had been sentenced to death. Now, she was legend. Not for conquest, not for magic, but for choosing to change. Every day, she remembered her past failures, not to dwell in shame, but to honor what she had learned. The pain had rooted something new, growth, moral. There is no punishment greater than indifference to others, but there is no light brighter than sincere remorse. A second chance is not an excuse, it is a test. Only those who change themselves can change fate.